contributions of those who survived, appreciating the totality of the gift of life, rather than considering survivors only as victims of Nazi tyranny and hatred. Meanwhile, our argumentative prompt couldn't be more timely, as we at the Holocaust Center have been asked by the OSPI, which is the State Department of Education, leaders, to recommend whether and to what extent teaching the lessons of the Holocaust should be required in Washington schools. We wanted to seek out the opinions of the aspired beneficiaries of such education, students. Should teaching about the Holocaust be required in Washington schools, and why? We couldn't be more thrilled and even moved by this year's submissions. There were so many notable writing, art, and film entries, making our judges' jobs difficult, but rewarding. And now, here to present the best of the best is my tremendous colleague, Julia Thompson.
All right, hi everyone. Thank you again so much for being here. And Paul, thank you for kicking us off. So to announce our awards and give them to students, I'd like to ask Henry Friedman to come up here, and he'll be handing them out. And I'll be announcing these in category order. So each category usually has about 3 names or 4. I'll just ask you to please hold your applause until the end of the category, so we can get through this with a little bit more efficiency. And students, just go ahead and come on up once I say your name and receive your award from Mr. Friedman here. I'll just ask that you use the center aisle and not this row here where the live stream is being recorded. So let's get this started with our amazing 5th and 6th grade art winners. This year, our first place goes to Allison Contiati, 5th grade of Torah Day School in Seattle, and thanks to her teacher, Judy Tennis. Allison, come on up. Great job. Yeah, we'll be a little photo op. Okay, second place is Orly Desmond, also 5th grade at Torah Day School with teacher Judy Tennis. And we have a wonderful honorable mention, Mia Fox, 6th grade from Central Kitsap Middle School in Silverdale, thanks to teacher Anna Kwong. We'll do a photo with the category. Awesome job. Go ahead and take your seat. Applause till the end of the category, if you don't mind. I know it's very tempting to congratulate each student individually. Our second category is our argumentative writing this year for 5th and 6th grade. And we have Benjamin Wu in first place from 6th grade, Narrows View Intermediate School in University Place. Second place, we have Asher Smith, 6th grade from Park Place Middle School in Monroe, and teacher Robin Hayashi, thanks to her support. Our final winner in this category, 3rd place, is Felix Sargent, 6th grade from Chimacum Elementary in Chimacum, and special thanks to teacher Gretchen Berg, who's also with us today. Great job. Benjamin to stay up here. Some of our first place winners today are going to say a few words. So the two of you, Asher and Felix, go ahead and take a seat. Thank you, Benjamin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Benjamin Wu, and I'm currently a 6th grader at Narrows View Intermediate School in University Place, Washington. I am honored to be selected as one of the winners of this year's Holocaust Center for Humanities Writing Contest. I would like to thank the organizer of this contest for giving me the opportunity to learn more about the long history of the Jewish people and learn about many stories of the survivors of the Holocaust. After reading Annie Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl and doing further research on the Holocaust online, I ran into this essay contest. The more I learned about the Holocaust, the more I felt obligated to suggest that Washington State makes it mandatory to teach about the Holocaust, and this essay contest gave me an opportunity to do so. My first reason to write was to combat false information about the Holocaust. Even today, many people don't even know basic facts about the Holocaust. My second reason was to write was because I wanted to connect the problems that Jews face to the problems of racism today. Even though our society today is far more inclusive than it once was, problems still remain. African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, and other minorities still face prejudice today, affecting their lives in ways unknowable to anyone except themselves. But most importantly, teaching about the Holocaust is also about teaching love and hope. I wanted all students and anyone who would listen to know that it is up to this generation and the generations to come to preserve the story of the Holocaust and preserve the hope and lessons that the Holocaust has passed down to us. I'd like to close with this quote from Annie Frank. Look at how a single candle can both defy and define the darkness. Thank you.
Benjamin, thank you so much. That was just wonderfully touching to hear your additional thoughts. So thank you for taking the time to write that. We're going to move on to our creative writing category for 5th and 6th graders. First place this year is Maggie Gibson, 6th grade at Islander Middle School on Mercer Island. Okay, Maggie didn't make it. Okay. Second place is Cecilia M., 5th grade from West Woodland Elementary in Seattle. And third place is Adir Swidarski, 5th grader at Torah Day School in Seattle. Great job, you two. Amazing. Okay, we're going to move on to art for the 7th and 8th grade category. Our first place winner is Claire Zhu, 7th grade at St. Thomas School in Medina, and thanks to teacher Jen Connell. Second place is Olivia Chen, 7th grade from Open Window School in Bellevue. We're
missing
okay.
Olivia.
Let's carry on with, I'll just keep announcing. We'll make sure everyone gets their certificate, don't worry. And third place is Ayar Newman, 7th grade from Lake Washington Girls Middle School in Seattle, teacher Jenny Zabatsky. So great job, 7th and 8th grade arts. All right, and I believe that our first place winner, Claire Zhu, will say a couple of words about her inspiration.
Hello, my name is Claire, and I'm in 7th grade from St. Thomas School. My art piece is representing Maria Frank Abrams. On the left of my art piece is her younger self, when Maria Frank Abrams was in the concentration camp, and on the right side is her older self. Young Maria is holding a scrap of paper and a stub on a pencil, drawing for not to practice. She is focused on her drawing. On the right, older Maria is also making art, but on the canvas. She is looking at her younger self, reflecting on how far she's come. In the background, I redrew a few of her most known paintings to show where her love of art brought her. I chose to paint Maria Frank Abrams because, just like her, I love making art. Even through all her hardships, she persevered and continued onwards, eventually settling into her
And just as a reminder, all of our art winners are reproduced on posters in the gallery, so be sure to take a look at Claire's work and everyone else's. Now let's announce the argumentative writing for 7th and 8th grade. All of our 3 incredible winners this year from this category are 8th graders from Coopville Middle School in Coopville with teacher Casey Gervais. And I don't believe that any of them were able to be here in person. They're from Whidbey Island, but hopefully they're on the live stream. So I'll just announce these names and then we'll move on to our next category. So our first place winner was Grier Mooney. Second place, Sophia Barati. And third place, River Drake. Great job to all of you. In creative writing for 7th and 8th grade. First place, we have Donica Dix, 7th grade from Lake Washington Girls Middle School in Seattle. Second place is Natalia Martin, 8th grade from St. Luke's School in Shoreline. Special thanks to her teachers Jennifer Fargo and Rosemary Conroy. And third place, Anita Nordwall, 7th grade from Lake Washington Girls Middle School in Seattle. All right, and 2 of you can sit down, and Donica, did you want to bring it up?
My name is Donica. I'm from Lake Washington Girls Middle School. Teacher Jenny Zavatsky, she's really cool. For my writing piece, I was inspired by thinking how people can move past traumatic experiences, and few things could be more traumatic than the Holocaust. I explored the stories of Klaus and Paula Stern, and I imagined how their daily life must have been impacted by the horrific events they went through. Therefore, every other paragraph of my story goes back and forth between their day-to-day life and their horrific memories. My intention was to show that they had a reason to move forward because of each other.
Thank you so much, Donica. Finally, we will get to the 9th and 12th grade categories. First, the art. First place is Cameron Yesser, 12th grade from Tesla STEM High School in Redmond, and teacher Janai Sheffels. Cameron's not here today, but I want to make sure you all take a look at his sculpture, which he dropped off the other day. It's on the other side of that wall. It's really incredible to see a 3D art piece. Second place is Bonnie Chen, 9th grade from Edmonds Woodway High School in Edmonds. And third place, Danica Ronda, 10th grade, West Seattle High School, and teacher Christina Doms. Thank you. Our argumentative writing winners for grades 9 through 12. Now, all 3 of these winners are also from the same school, Lewis and Clark High School in Spokane, with teacher Roger Cooper. So they cannot be with us here in person as well, but hopefully on the live stream. Amazing work from Lewis and Clark High School in Spokane. So the first place winner is Catherine Sestero in 11th grade. Second place, Eleanor Plager, 10th grade. And third place is Iris Smith, 10th grade. Congratulations. Creative writing for grades 9 through 12. Our first place winner is Chloe Adams, 9th grade from Freeman High School in Rockford, and teacher Pia Longinati. Second place, Lillian Nielsen, 9th grade from Valley View High School in Caldwell, Idaho. Teacher Amber Ford. And third place, Angie Chen, 9th grade at Peninsula High School in Gig Harbor with teacher Eileen O'Sara. I don't think we've got them here today, but a heavy round of applause. I'm thrilled that we had a winner this year from Idaho. Let's acknowledge Claire Zhu and Angie Chen, Olivia Chen once more because we have their certificates. Congratulations, you two. We'll just get a better photo op with the two of you. Everyone needs the certificate. Thank you for your patience, the two of you. All right, so we've reached our two final categories, which are the film categories. I'm going to announce the winners in both grade levels, and then we will watch the first place film winners. Our first place in the grades 5 through 8 film category is Tallulah Hudek and Grace Hintz, 7th graders at Lake Washington Girls Middle School in Seattle. So come on up. Awesome. Second place is Talia Trupin, also 7th grade from Lake Washington Girls Middle School. And third place, we have Alicia Bergman, 5th grade from Tora Day School in Seattle. Great job. All right. Go ahead and take a seat. And we'll announce our final category. This is high school film. And I believe all 4 of our finalists are not here in person, but a big congratulations to them anyway. Our first place winner is Maxwell So from 12th grade, Tesla STEM High School in Redmond. Second place, also from Tesla STEM, Philip Araujo. Third place, also from Tesla STEM, some amazing film work from them. Third place is Rohan Iyer. And finally, we have an honorable mention in this category for Lane Matthews and Nash McLean, 9th graders at Freeman High School in Rockford, Washington. So great job to our high school film winners. Now, I would like to invite our first place middle school winner, Tallulah, to come up and say a few words about her film, and then we'll screen the film.
Hi, I'm Tallulah. I go to Lake Washington Girls Middle School. I made this video with Grace, who isn't able to be here today. It was a really important project, and I think that our inspiration for it came from the fact that the Holocaust is such an important part of our world's history that it was like we needed to stop and focus on it a little bit. During this time in history, it was particularly important to learn about the Holocaust as a way to see how hate escalates quickly. This is relevant to our lives today because hate is still being used by some people, and we need to learn about these moments in history that can teach us how to make sure it never happens again. It was also really cool to learn about and make the video about one person specifically rather than the Holocaust in general. I also think that George Albaum's quote at the end of our video inspired us to help tell his story. We also thought that the part about his mom dyeing his hair and getting fake ID documents to protect him, and then how they were reunited, was really cool. Thank you to Ms. Denny for your help on this project and for encouraging us to enter. Thank you. technology while working towards an engineering career. He and his wife, Amy Jensen, now live in San Francisco. A quote from him is, "I recognize that we who survived the Holocaust have a responsibility to give hope to the slogan, never again."
Fantastic job, Grace and Tallulah. Moving on to the high school film winner, this was Maxwell So. And I also just thought I would mention the subject of Maxwell's film, Joe Lewinson. One of our wonderful Speakers Bureau members is with us today as well. Thanks, Joe, for being here.
On November 9, 1938, the Nazis unleashed the Kristallnacht pogroms upon the German Jewish community. Hiding in their attic, 1-year-old Joe Lewinson's mother cupped a hand over his mouth to keep his cries from alerting the Nazis laying waste to the family store just below. Lewinson's father was sent to the Buchenwald concentration camp, but several weeks later, his mother was able to negotiate his father's release on the condition that the family leave Germany. Allowed to take just $10 in 2 suitcases, the Lewinson family left for the only place they could go, Japanese-occupied Shanghai. They never heard from the relatives that stayed in Germany again. For the next 8 years, Lewinson and his family shared a 1-room space with 3 other refugee families in Shanghai. Lewinson received no schooling and would regularly be told to play hide-and-seek whenever air raid sirens marked the approach of American bombers, a near-daily occurrence by 1945. In 1947, Lewinson and his family joined distant relatives in Santiago, Chile. There, Lewinson first attended school, but struggled to learn to read and write due to not knowing Spanish. 2 years later, Lewinson and his family were able to immigrate to the U.S. Arriving in Seattle, Lewinson was immediately placed in 5th grade despite not knowing English and not having access to ESL classes. As a result, Lewinson continued to struggle greatly in school. He was admitted to the University of Washington, but decided to drop out and join the Army. But after completing his service, Lewinson returned to the University of Washington with renewed determination. He went on to complete his bachelor's and master's and taught history and German at Lake Washington High School and Redmond High School for 35 years. As a student in the Seattle School District, Lewinson learned very little about the Holocaust. So when he started teaching history, he decided to create a curriculum for Holocaust education with help from the UW Humanities Center. Lewinson married his wife Janet in 1965, and they now have 2 sons and several grandchildren. Lewinson encapsulates his story with a quote from his mother, "It is what it is, and you have to do the best that you can." Joe Lewinson's journey is one of incredible perseverance and tenacity. After starting a new life on 4 continents by the time he was 12 years old, Lewinson not only overcame his years of struggle in school, but became a teacher himself, working to preserve the memory of those who perished in the Holocaust for future generations. His life inspires those of us with far more fortunate childhoods to make the most out of our own lives.
Maxwell was here in person, but hopefully you're on the live stream, Maxwell, and just want to congratulate him again on the excellent job relaying Joe Lewinson's story. So it is now my pleasure to turn the mic back to our Director of Education, Paul Riddlebrook, who is going to acknowledge several of our teacher honorees this year.
Thank you, Julia. One of the greatest things about our jobs on the education team at the Holocaust Center for Humanity is that we have the privilege to work with countless people who perform the most challenging of all jobs in the world, teachers. Time and time again, we are inspired and simply blown away by the above and beyond dedication of teachers at any and all hours of the day, including weekends, to do their darndest to teach lessons to their students that far transcend subject matter. It is said that nothing truly worthwhile in life is easy, and so is the lot of teachers who believe in teaching and elevating the hearts and minds of all of their students. Although we could enumerate well over 100 teachers we know of that illustrate the point I'm making now, we wish to recognize 2 of them at this time. Both of these educators have incorporated lessons of the Holocaust and how our Writing, Art, and Film contest contributes to such learning for several years, and both are members of our Educators for Change Teacher Advisory Board. The first, who sadly can't be with us today, is Janai Shuffles. Janai, I've come to know for several years, associated with the Holocaust Center. She is a teacher in the Lake Washington School District, and she teaches specifically at Tesla STEM High School. You heard that several winners from her school were represented here. She's a teacher of both history and ELA. She has helped co-facilitate presentations that I've done for districts and teachers across the state. She has traveled with Echoes and Reflections to Yad Vashem in Israel and is head training there. And she's going to be coming with us on our Poland trip, which we are about to embark upon July 1st. And yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge. It's amazing for the past several years in this writing art contest, because it's like, gosh, is anybody going to be able to beat any of the entrants from her school, particularly in the film category? And so we're like, is there any way this is? They're just simply that good. So thank you, and a huge appreciation to Janai. Just the purple ones, yeah. Thank you, Rosie. Awesome. Okay, the second teacher I'd like to give a huge shout out to and acknowledgement to is with us today, and her name is Rosemary Conroy. Rosemary far precedes my involvement with Holocaust education, far precedes even our Chief Operating Officer, Ilana Cohen-Kennedy's involvement with the Holocaust Center. She knows so many of our speakers so well that when Henry saw her today, he stopped the middle of our conversation to say, oh my gosh, I'd hug her. When George Elbaum, who you saw featured in the first film, when George Elbaum was on a Zoom call with us and a number of other teachers from our Educators for Change, and he saw that she was there, tears came into his eyes. He said, Paul, can you please give me Rosemary's email? I need to tell her how much I love her and all that she has done, and I've spoken to her students so many times. She is a treasured, revered asset beyond belief to not only Holocaust education, but to the Archdiocese of Seattle. She's taught in the St. Luke's Shoreline for over 30 years on her husband's estimation. She is just amazed. She's a United States Holocaust Memorial Museum Teacher Fellow from one of the first iterations of the fellowship groups. And honestly, she's such a resource that this year, sadly, we're hearing that she's retiring from teaching. But in speaking with her husband, before I came up here today, he's so sad about the fact that she's retiring, not because he's going to be with his wife more often, but because the students who won't have had the opportunity to have her. And that she's truly one of the greatest teachers in the world. And it's amazing, Rosemary, to have gotten to know you. And I hope that we stay connected and that you can work together with us and we can learn from you in years going forward to do the best we can for students, because our work, as you can see, is never ending. So thank you, Rosemary.
Gosh, that made me feel kind of old, but know that I am not leaving this center. I am here to help. Where did I begin? This has been probably the most powerful part of my career as a teacher, is teaching the lessons of the Shoah to young people and to adults alike. I do teacher workshops. One of my favorite authors is a woman, those of you under 20 might not know, Maya Angelou. And Maya Angelou says, and I always keep this in the front of my mind, that history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived. But if faced with courage, it can be conquered. And I keep that in mind because I look out at all of you in the front row, you are going to make a difference. And that's your duty now, is to go out there and teach others and live it. Make a difference. I have so much faith in young people today. You got to stand up for what's right. Know those little classmates of yours when they are unkind or say things that are hurtful, and you can make a tremendous difference. I believe that change is there because of you. So thanks for the flowers and the memories, and I treasure everybody here at this site. So thank you so much.
One other little gift here that Rosie's going to give you here. Yeah, the gifts keep coming, right? But you've earned it and then some. So thank you for your gift to us. And so, yeah, so thank you so much so far. And now it's my pleasure to turn things back over to Julia. Where did Julia go? There you are. To Julia really quickly here as we're nearing the fruition of this. So yeah, I'll get back to Julia. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and Rosemary, thanks for all the years of support and advocacy. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
It is now my great pleasure to invite Henry Friedman back up to the stage. And as you heard earlier, Mr. Friedman is a Holocaust survivor. He's a founder of our center back in the 80s, and his wife Sandra's name adorns our building. So it is really thanks to Henry that our institution has grown into what it is today. Henry is also a member of our Speakers Bureau, on our board of directors, and Henry, thank you for all of your support, everything that you do, and sharing your story. So I know that you have a few words to share, and I thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Julia, for doing such a wonderful job. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Henry and Sandra Friedman Holocaust Center for Humanities Museum. I started this creative writing contest about 30 years ago in honor of my father, Jacob. You see, in 1941, when Nazi Germany occupied the area where I was living, Jews could not go to school. Jews could not teach. My father didn't want me and my younger brother to fall too far behind in our education. He asked a Jewish teacher to come to live with us during that time. In 1942, when Nazi Germany decided that all the Jews in Brody and surrounding areas had to move in within a few blocks of the city, my father felt that once they have us behind barbed wire, it's going to be very difficult for us to get out. So he said, we have to do everything possible to stay outside the ghetto. My father found 2 Christian families that would risk their lives and took us in. So myself and the Jewish teacher became part of the family. She, my mom, my younger brother, and I were in a space about the size of a queen-size bed for 18 months. We couldn't speak a loud word. We could only whisper. And all I could do is just either lay down or sit up. What I'm trying to tell you, in my opinion, teachers are like angels. Angels we don't see. Teachers pass on knowledge, which is most important, in my opinion, value, gift that one can give to another human being. And just to share this with you, my family had buildings. They were destroyed because of the war. My family had money, but the money became valueless because of the war. My family had land. We had to leave behind the land in order to save our lives. But what the teachers put in my hand, I was able to take it across borders. So therefore, in my opinion, let's give the teachers a big hand because they I know you have heard enough speeches and you're probably tired, you want to go back to your home. So I won't give you long speeches. I just want you to know that I appreciate the work, the studies that you're doing, and encourage your students to keep on studying as long as you possibly can, that your parents will pay for it. So thank you for the parents for encouraging your students to participate. And I want to thank Julie and all the staff for the wonderful job that they're doing that I started over 30 years ago in a little cubicle. And at that time, people didn't want to hear much about the Holocaust. I also have a book. It's called I Am No Hero, A Journey of a Holocaust Survivors. I have a few books here. If you want me, I'd be happy to sign them for you afterwards. But I want to leave you with 10 paradoxical commandments of leadership. Number 1, people are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. 2, if you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. 3, if you're successful, you win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. 4, the good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. 5, honesty and frankness makes you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. 6, the biggest man with the biggest idea can be shot down by the smallest man with the smallest mind. Think big anyway. 7, people favor underdogs but follow only top dogs. Fight for the few underdogs anyway. 8, when you spend years building may be destroyed overnight, build anyway. 9, people need help, but may attack you if you do help them. Help them anyway. And give the world the best you have, and you'll be kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. And the final word to you, don't hate. Hate is a virus. Hate destroys people. Love is much better. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Henry, thank you so much. Your 10 paradoxical lessons for courage. I may have gotten those words wrong, but they're always such a gift, and I really hope that students especially take one or two or three to heart. And I just want to conclude our program by giving many thank yous to everyone involved in this contest and the program today. Rosa Campos, thank you so much. You made this contest happen, and we couldn't have done it without you. Paul Riggelbrook, our Director of Education. Ali Lax over here behind the scenes, running the live stream, making that happen. So to everyone at home watching Facebook Live, thank you so much. I hope that you were able to hear and see us clearly this morning. Morgan Romero, our Museum and Education Assistant back there. Thank you so much, Morgan. Charles, our extremely trusty security guard, keeping us safe. And thank you again to our judges. We have some incredible volunteers who judged all the 600 submissions, which is no easy feat. I know Raul and Mario and Marcy, and I'm sure I'm missing someone else, but oh, Madison, I think, is here. So thank you, judges. Thank you, teachers, parents, friends, and family. Thank you for participating in this year's Writing, Art, and Film Contest. Enjoy another bagel. Looks like there's plenty, and feel free to explore the exhibit as long as you like today. Thank you again.